Call the,
But they're leaving money on the table. That's
get
exactly
this
right.
fishtail down. I'm gonna call the meeting of Tennessee Auctioneer Commission to order. Could we get a roll call?
Howard Phillips.
Here.
Bobby Colson.
Here.
Ronnie Collier.
Here.
Adam Lewis.
Here.
Jeff Morris.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, I think we have quorum.
Notice of the meeting.
Notice of the November 2nd, 2015 meeting of the Auctioneer Commission was posted to the Auctioneer Commission website on October 29th, 2015.
We get that approved? You have to leave me a little bit.
No.
Okay. All right, the agenda review and adopt up next.
Sir?
I move we adopt the agenda.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt the agenda. All in
Aye.
favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion's been made and approved. So we'll go to minutes, review and adopt the minutes.
Chairman, I've read the minutes and I move that we adopt them as written.
Second. Motion's been made to approve and adopt the minutes and been seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now, Ressa.
Morning, Ressa Hansen with Nashville Auction School. The report's pretty straightforward and simple as usual. The newsletter for the first quarter of fiscal year 2006 has been distributed and is also on the website. Just as a note to that for staff is that the spring and summer editions are not on the website. They have been submitted. They were submitted on March 27th and June 30th, respectively. So, but the current issue is on the website, so that's good to know. The new issue does reflect the TDCI graphic guidelines, the new graphic guidelines for state documents, so it has a completely different look, and I think our licensees will certainly notice that when it comes out. It looks really nice. As always, I would welcome suggestions or recommendations from the Commission or articles from the Commission for inclusion into the newsletter. So the CE seminar, we are scheduled for a CE seminar next Monday, the 9th in Knoxville at the Holiday Inn West at Cedar Bluff. We will have Robert Mayo presenting on 4 hours, and Wendell Hansen's going to present 2 hours. We have 3 2-hour classes for approval at this meeting for that seminar. So we're really pleased, though, to have Robert Mayo. He is, in the auction industry, probably the most sought-after speaker for auctioneers across the country right now. So we are thrilled to have him coming to talk to the Tennessee auctioneers. He will be talking on online auctions and social media marketing for auctions. So that's going to be an exciting program. That is my report.
Thank you.
Any questions or any suggestions, recommendations for the newsletter? I know you mentioned it before that you would like a clarification on absolute auctions to be included in the newsletter, so I'll be glad to make sure that gets into the next issue. Anything else?
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Russ. Okay, we have the newsletter proposal. Is that next?
No, sir.
No.
Legal report is next.
So just bear with me because my voice is really yucky, and I'm sorry. Do we go through these one at a time and vote on them one at a time, correct? I'm starting to get confused from other meetings. Okay. Item 1, 20.
Let's get on the right page here.
Okay, sorry.
We're gonna shuffle through all of them. Like a link.
Look at there. Look at
The
there.
agenda first, just tap the icon, it should take you.
How about that?
It takes you back to.
69 is the page number.
Oh,
That's cool. Go all the way back to the front.
that's right. So you
Now
can
just
hit DOC.
touch on legal provider there.
Just hit it, right?
That's cool.
Okay, I'm ready.
Now we're getting
I like
fancy.
it.
Item 1, 2014-016-041. This matter was originally presented at the November 2014 board meeting as follows. Complainant consigned personal property items with respondent in January. Complainant states that within the first week, some items sold, and complainant was promptly paid the following week. Complainant states that respondent moved cities, and complainant's items were listed as last sale, and respondent was going out of business. Complainant states that phone calls were not returned, and complainant requested a check via email. Complainant states that a representative of respondent called complainant and stated the landlord locked respondent out of the building, stole respondent's computer and files. Complainant states that complainant has not heard from respondent since then, and respondent still owed complainant money. Respondent did not submit a timely response to the complaint. In the previous recommendation, the board authorized a formal hearing with authority to settle by consent order upon a payment of a $1,000 civil penalty by the respondent. Office of Legal Counsel has had some correspondence with respondent who stated that the landlord put locks on the door of the gallery, and respondent called police and was able to get some stuff out of the building, but not all of it. Respondent states that the landlord took all the computers and cabinets and is unsure how to handle the matter. Respondent did not provide a written response as requested. Respondent is no longer in the auctioneer business, and service on respondent has been difficult. Further, the complainant is no longer cooperative and has not provided an affidavit of the events. Respondent's license expired in June of 2015. So there's a new recommendation on this one, and this one actually came from the litigation attorney, correct? Because the matter had been turned over to him based on the previous recommendation, and then he came to me with this new information. So the recommendation is to close and flag should respondent seek license renewal or reapplication.
Have any discussion on it? Motion's been made and seconded to go with legal representation. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Number 2.
Okay, item 2. If you want to, I'm going to let Jenica just read for a minute because this is just gross sounding. So, but just ask questions when you need
Let's
to.
save her throat. Item 22015016331. Complainant states that respondent has been advertising on a community Facebook page for auctions to occur on Friday and Saturday starting at 6 p.m. Complainant provided the address of the auction stating this is a building for sale, and respondent backs a U-Haul truck up to the building and sells it from the truck. Office of Legal Counsel requested an investigation which yielded the following information. The investigator stated that the subject property in which the auction allegedly was held was unoccupied and listed for sale. The listing agent for the property advised the investigator that an individual, hereinafter unlicensed auctioneer, contacted her to inquire about purchasing the property to be used as an auction site. The listing agent provided an affidavit who stated that the unlicensed auctioneer and an individual who is likely respondent met with the listing agent and the property owner to view the property. The investigator also contacted the owner of the subject property, who states that the unlicensed auctioneer leased the building and held at least one auction before abandoning the building, stole a $200 fire extinguisher, and left the building full of trash and damages. The investigator was unable to identify the respondent. However, the investigator was able to identify the unlicensed auctioneer, who has been involved in criminal activities involving check fraud and conviction of misapplication of contract funds. The Tennessee Board for Licensed Contractors obtained a final order by default in the amount of $10,305 against the unlicensed auctioneer for unlicensed contractor activity. The investigator obtained information from the County Sheriff's Department that the unlicensed auctioneer may be operating an unlicensed auction firm. It further appears that an individual with the same last name as the respondent may be working for the unlicensed auctioneer at the auctions. The County Sheriff's Department also provided the investigator with recently issued arrest warrants for a violation of bad check law and failure to pay restitution in the contract funds case. The investigator conducted a site visit regarding the unlicensed auction house location and observed a large amount of merchandise in the building, buyer's numbers, and an auction banner displayed in the front of the building. The investigator spoke to that building's owner, who was also trying to contact the unlicensed auctioneer regarding vacating that building. The investigator states that a business license for the unlicensed auction firm was issued using the unlicensed auctioneer's social security number. The investigator obtained further information indicating that the unlicensed auctioneer's spouse obtained another business license in a nearby city for a second unlicensed auction firm. The investigator met with the employee of the unlicensed auctioneer, having the same last name as respondent, who admitted to working for the unlicensed auctioneer and spouse at both unlicensed auction firms and locations. The employee states that there were two different people calling those auctions, hereinafter Auctioneer 1 and Auctioneer 2. The investigator attempted to meet with the unlicensed auctioneer by visiting the residence and calling the unlicensed auctioneer. The unlicensed auctioneer returned the phone call but refused to meet for an interview. The investigator further contacted Auctioneer 1, who stated that he only provided sound equipment for the unlicensed auctioneer to conduct the two auctions. The investigator also contacted Auctioneer 2, who states that he called two auctions for the unlicensed auctioneer, but the unlicensed auctioneer advised that the firm was licensed. Auctioneer 2 is a licensed auctioneer and also owns a firm and gallery, both properly licensed. Auctioneer 2 states that during the second auction, he determined that the unlicensed auctioneer did not have a firm license, and Auctioneer 2 left the auction midway through calling. Auctioneer 2 states that he believes the unlicensed auctioneer has tried to run the auctions on his own. Reasoning and recommendation: it appears to legal counsel that the respondent is no more than a falsified social media profile. Legal counsel recommends that the complaint against respondent be dismissed and a subsequent complaint against unlicensed auctioneer be opened based on the investigator's findings.
Right?
It's confusing
It
if we
was-
can't put names in
It
it.
was very confusing. But
Discussion.
it's probably not going to do us a whole lot of good to try to go after this respondent because it doesn't even seem like it's an actual real person. So it was probably going to be most beneficial to just open up a new complaint against the unlicensed auctioneer because we do have information on him that we can use.
Well, if you're looking for a recommendation from this panel, I would say go after them with a new complaint post haste. I mean,
Right, and we, of course, we really can't do anything without your all's recommendation to open a new complaint, so,
I move that you do that.
okay.
Motion's been made.
Second.
Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. 3.
2015017-241. Complainant participated in respondent's online auction on June 30th, 2015. Complainant placed a final bid on a chair which was presented as a winning bid with 2 minutes left in the auction. Complainant states that the website then stated complainant had been outbid and the auction had been extended 4 minutes, but complainant did not continue to bid. Complainant stated that a couple of hours later, complainant received an email stating they had won the bid. Respondent replied stating that their data does not support the claims made by complainant. Respondent states that complainant placed a final bid of $315, which was the winning bid in the sale. Respondent further states that the assertion that respondent has internal bidders is libelous. Respondent provided the bid history for the items in question, stating that other bidders placed a bid that extended the sale for 5 minutes, but that the bidder was outbid by complainant's account. Respondent states that the last outbid notification generated to complainant was regarding the other bidder mentioned. Respondent also provided an independent click tracking software system that monitors respondent's website, which tracks user activity by IP address and username. Respondent states that the complainant's entries show that the item was viewed and bid upon from complainant's account. Respondent further provided information regarding the other bidder, stating she has been a registered user/customer for respondent since July 23, 2014, and has made several purchases. Respondent states that this customer is not employed or associated with respondent. Respondent provided information that the other bidder received notification of complainant's final and winning bid. Respondent further provided information from their third-party fraud detection software, stating that this report also corresponds with complainant's final and winning bid. Respondent states that whether complainant intended to place the bid or not, an action was taken from complainant's device to place the winning bid. Respondent states that in good faith, respondent did not make complainant pay for the item. Respondent has over 200,000 registered users and almost 1 million unique visitors every month. Respondent states that if respondent conducted business in the way that complainant asserted, respondent would not be in business with their reputation intact. Reasoning and recommendation is to dismiss.
Vice,
I have a question.
go ahead.
Can you explain to me what you just read?
So, yes. Basically, the complainant was alleging that they were taking part in this online auction. They placed a final bid on a chair, and then they were told that that was the winning bid. But then, apparently within 2 minutes left in the auction, they stated that the website stated that complainant had been outbid. So I think what the complainant was saying was that they were under the impression that they won the bid. Then later, the respondent came back and said, no, you didn't win the bid. They extended the bidding. You were actually outbid by somebody else. And then,
That's not what that says.
okay, well, you tell me what you think that says. And then we'll clear it
They
up.
were bidding online, and they got it. They were in the final 2 minutes. The complainant got a notice that they were outbid. Apparently they filed a complaint because after the sale, they got an email saying you have won the bid, and they thought they got outbid.
Right.
And so the complainant is claiming that it was maybe a false bid, and they went back to them because they were the winning bidder.
That's the way I read it.
And the respondent is saying, no, we have tracking software that tracks every bid from every IP address, and we can give you a time log of when the bids were placed and from what IP address it was.
Right.
And so we can prove that the complainant was the high bidder, and there was no subsequent bid that would have given them a winning bid or canceled their winning bid during the final 2 minutes. You know, now how they got a notice or how they thought they got a notice, that's the thing that remains in question. But that's
Right.
that's what the argument is about. And there's no way to prove it other than if you look at the list, and R does the same thing. I mean, you can pull up by IP address, who bid what, from where, and exactly what time and second that happened. And so I don't think they have a complaint.
Right.
Up here on the history, it says apparently they were unlicensed and then got licensed in 2014 and then got licensed in March of this year.
Yes,
Okay.
that's not related to this complaint.
Well, your history's related.
I know,
Whatever.
I
I
agree.
just,
Yeah, there is
Like your
some.
point.
There is definitely some recent history on
Yeah.
on this respondent.
Right. So I would move that we go along with your recommendation to dismiss because it's really not a complaint. You know, did they not want to win the chair for $315? I mean,
But yeah, they didn't pay it, so
no.
I guess they didn't
And
really
he
want
let them
that.
out of it anyway.
yeah, they didn't
Well,
really.
The reason that I wanted this explained, and I'm still not sure it's explained exactly the way the thing happened. I had the same thing happen 3 weeks ago at a car sale. A guy in Nebraska was out. After he quit bidding online, somebody else bid and bought the truck. So he thought that he got the truck. And I thought this complaint might be against me, but it's not because mine happened in
No.
Nebraska. And anyway, he went to the state attorney general in Nebraska and has filed a complaint. And if that can happen, then there's going to be complaint after complaint after complaint on this because we got the same thing, you know. Now, did this guy get the bid or did this guy not get the bid?
apparently he was told he didn't, or he
thought
thinks
he
he
did.
was told he didn't, but he really did.
And respondent did submit like the actual notifications that were generated. I mean, they submitted a whole lot of information. So there were the notifications on there that were
But
generated
did they
to
send him
complainant.
a statement saying he won the bid?
Yes.
Yes,
They did.
right.
So then if the auction company sent him a statement saying you won the bid, then he won the bid,
Correct.
right?
But yeah, he
So
did
what?
win the
So what's
bid,
his
but-
gripe?
He thought he didn't.
Right. He he thought he didn't win the bid, and then later he found out apparently he did win the bid, but then nothing came of it anyway because he didn't actually purchase the chair.
That's why I love online auctions.
We all do.
I second Commissioner Morris's
Yes.
motion.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor say aye. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5. 4.
Item 4, 2015018641. And if you see the license history, just notice that there are 3 galleries for this respondent. And item 5 is the gallery owner, 2015018642. An anonymous consumer filed a complaint against Respondent 1, Gallery, with 3 locations, and Respondent 2, Gallery owner, stating that the gallery is advertising and conducting auctions in 2 locations without the proper licensure to do so. Complainant further states that Respondent 2 is calling the auctions without being a licensed auctioneer. Complainant further states that Respondent 2 has previously been convicted of fraudulent activity and statutory rape of a minor. Respondent 2 is the sole owner of Respondent 1, which is currently licensed with 1 gallery and 2 gallery branches. Office of Legal Counsel requested an investigation which yielded the following information regarding the criminal convictions. It appears that on July 22nd, 1992, Respondent 2 pled guilty and was convicted of statutory rape. On August 25th, 2005, Respondent 2 pled guilty and was convicted of 2 counts for failing to register with the TBI Sex Offender Registry. On June 6, 2008, the TBI released Respondent 2 from the Sex Offender Registry. The investigator states that the deputy at TBI explained that Respondent 2 no longer has to report to the Sex Offender Registry after a certain point. The investigator observed an auction on August 29, 2015 at one of the gallery locations, which was called by a licensed auctioneer who also holds a valid firm license. The investigator later interviewed Respondent 2, who states that the complainant who keeps opening complaints against Respondents 1 and 2 is a competitor who vowed to put Respondent 2 out of business. Respondent 2 affirmed that Respondent 2 does not call bids at auctions and always hires licensed auctioneers. Thus, it appears to legal counsel that Respondent 1 and 2 are properly licensed with the Commission and are acting within their capacity. Reasoning and recommendation. Legal counsel recommends discussion regarding Respondent 2's criminal conviction. The gallery application asks, has any partner, officer, or director ever been indicted or convicted on charges involving embezzlement, obtaining money under false pretenses, larceny, or extortion? And are there any civil suits or judgments pending against any partner, officer, or director at this time? There are no questions on the gallery license application with regard to any other convictions. TCA Section 6219-125 gallery license states in Part C, the person who desires to obtain a gallery license shall submit an application to the Commission on the prescribed form. A person who desires to obtain a gallery license for the firm shall request issuance of the license in the name of the firm with a specific person acting as principal. The application shall demonstrate satisfactory proof that the person has 3, provided other information as the Commission may require to demonstrate honesty, trustworthiness, integrity, reputation, and competency. And F, the gallery license holder must comply with all of the requirements of the Tennessee license laws and regulations that apply to all licenses. Further, TCA Section 6219-112 states in Part B, the Commission may suspend, revoke, or refuse to renew any license issued under this chapter where the license has been obtained by false or fraudulent representations or for any of the following causes. 6, being convicted in a court of competent jurisdiction of this or any other state or of the United States of a criminal offense involving moral turpitude or a felony. 7, violating any provision of this chapter or any rule or regulation duly promulgated under this chapter. When discussing this matter, please keep in mind that Respondent 2 was convicted of the original offense in 1992, and Respondent 2 was released from reporting to the TBI registry in 2008. Since then, Respondent 2 has had no further convictions. Respondent 2 did not falsify the gallery applications, and Respondent 1 was first licensed as a gallery in 2013.
I'd like to excuse myself from this.
So from this matter. Mr. Collier.
Discussion.
Well,
Sort of forced to discuss because that's
in shorthand, what is the complaint?
so basically I think it's kind of twofold here. The issue that we're having, I guess, is whether or not we're going to take issue with this gallery owner's criminal convictions, because we're sort of in a tough place because the application itself doesn't specifically ask about the exact conviction that this person got. So he wasn't falsifying anything on the application. He, in fact, wasn't convicted of anything involving embezzlement, obtaining money under false pretenses, larceny, or extortion.
So he was convicted of a felony. Is that correct? Is that what it?
Correct. But
Okay. And under certain conditions, this auctioneer commission has granted people license that had a felony.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I know I voted on a couple of them. So he's really done nothing wrong. I mean, just because you do something a long time ago doesn't mean that you're a bad guy now. You can
right.
get forgiven for your sins, straighten your butt up, and
Right.
go on and lead a normal life. And in your opinion, is that what this guy's doing now?
I mean, I guess I don't really have an opinion on whether or not he's doing what he's supposed to be doing now. I think the issue is that we were privy to this information based on what was stated in the complaint, and we had to put what we knew about these convictions in the legal report to let you know that, hey, it's out there. And then if you think it's something that needs to be looked into further or something done about it.
I'm
then-
just trying to get in my head that he now is conducting a gallery license, hiring a licensed auctioneer, having
Correct.
people come and buy stuff and sell stuff, and he's not cheating anybody.
Correct. As far as we know, yes.
Well, that wasn't a complaint. That he was cheating or
So
not paying
respondent
something.
one,
Right.
respondent one. All this stuff was on respondent two's record, right?
Correct.
The respondent one, who is the gallery owner,
Respondent 1 is the gallery, and then respondent 2 is the gallery owner.
okay,
Yep.
And it's,
okay.
Yep.
and it's another, is it another licensed auctioneer that's filing the complaint? Is that,
I believe it was actually anonymous.
I thought it said somewhere he was jealous.
Yeah.
That was just the
Respondent says
respondent
that.
basically assuming that he knew who was filing the complaint.
He thought he knew who was
Right.
filing the complaint.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. After '08, he wasn't required to report on the registry.
Right. And
Whether just because you don't have to report on the registry, does that mean that
right, and I
it
think
still should have been put on the application?
Pretty specific on the application.
Not a place, that's not a question, it's on the.
It's all got to do with stealing money on the.
which might also be something that we need to think about with the application, because this is probably something that could come up more than once. And also, just to sort of clarify, Jenica brought up a point. This is probably something that, had we known about these convictions prior to this person getting a license, we may have had to bring it before you guys, right, to vote up or down. So that's kind of just what we're looking at here.
Well, I'm under the opinion the guy hasn't, as far as we know, hasn't done anything wrong other than what he did in 1992, and I'll make a motion we dismiss.
Second.
We have a motion to agree with legal's legal didn't make a recommendation. We have a motion to dismiss, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You're back on the clock, Mr. Collier.
Thank you. Number 6. I hope that helps.
201-502-0891. A complaint was filed alleging that respondent, an unlicensed company, is conducting online auctions without proper licensure or a principal auctioneer. Complainant provided information for an auction advertised to occur online beginning August 5th through August 26th using bidspotter.com. Office of Legal Counsel reviewed respondent's website, which states that the company is a cash buyer of used machinery equipment. Respondent performs online sales, liquidations, private sales, time bid offerings, and auction services. Respondent's website states that online sales and timed auctions is one of the most popular tools for asset disposition. The online platform provides instant access to thousands of potential buyers and allowed marketing for strategic advertising to buyers. Respondent's website further states that auction liquidation methods are called for when immediate liquidation and removal are required, though it does not guarantee the high returns on investment. Office of Legal Counsel also reviewed bidspotter.com, and it appears that respondent conducted a timed online auction via the website. There were no in-person auctions or any other online auctions advertised by respondent on either website. Respondent sent a response by and through an attorney who believes that respondent violated no law and is acting under a clear exemption. Respondent does not hold itself out to be a licensed auction firm and does not use auction in its name. Respondent conducts timed sales on the internet without the use of auctioneers and solely by electronic media. The sale is conducted by a third-party platform, which is similar to eBay. The sale is conducted within a timed window of prospective buyers may follow offers and place their own bid without the assistance of an auctioneer. Further, the attorney states that respondent does not fit the definition of auction and further cited the 2006 AG opinion regarding the definition of auction firms. Reasoning and recommendation: it appears that respondent falls under the exemption regarding fixed price or time listings in TCA section 6219-1039. Thus, counsel recommends this complaint be closed with no further action.
Any discussion?
The only hinge point on these cases is there an extension of time at the end of the sale? And if there's not one, they clearly fall within that exemption.
Right, and to our knowledge, there was no extension on this matter.
Apparently there's not.
Everybody's in the auction business without being licensed. That's all right. I move that we accept legal's recommendation.
Been made to accept legal's recommendation. To hear a second?
Second.
Second.
I'd like to back up for a second. And do we need to revise our application to include, whether you've ever been convicted of a felony, and if so, when?
I mean, that's certainly in your discretion. It's possible to revise the application in a way that would encompass a lot more than those three things that are listed here, which might make it less confusing in the end when you guys are using your discretion to try to make a decision on these, because at least you'll have something in writing to kind of back things up.
I really think that we ought to have something on there that if they've ever been convicted of a felony, a misdemeanor is a misdemeanor, but any felony conviction in their lifetime ought to be revealed and be used in consideration of whether you issue a license or not.
Right.
Chair, if I may? We were going to have to revise applications anyway to do some new formatting for the state logo and some other minor changes anyway, so that would not be a burden on staff to go back and revise those pages at all.
I'd like to see that question on the application. Have you ever been convicted?
On all of the applications.
Yeah.
Gallery and all of them.
Well,
And I think we have a motion on the floor, though, don't we?
So far.
Just a
That ain't got
discussion
nothing to do
point.
with that.
We're just discussing.
Go ahead, Ira.
well, back on whether you put that on the application or not, the only question I have is there's 16, 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids that make mistakes. 30 years later down the road, they want to get an auctioneer license, or they've straightened their life up and they want to be in business. I just have
I hear what you're saying, Howard, and I agree with you. But
it might be okay to put.
We should be at least be. We don't have to exclude them, but we ought to have that information so we can consider it. And if you've been convicted of 3 counts of murder, then you might have a different opinion, even though he did it when he was
Well, if he
18 and a half years
chopped
old.
his mama up with an axe, I might not like it, but
Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of my point. I mean, not that they would automatically be excluded, but at least we would have that information
and
going.
it would just be a matter of
you-
you
you're
would
gonna
still have
put, have you ever been
discretion, but it would
convicted?
come in front of you regardless of what the felony was, instead of it just being these three things that we
It's
have.
gonna say, have you ever been convicted of a felon, and you check it and then explain,
Yeah,
something like that.
right. They would have to send the proper documentation
I'll go along
if they
with
check that. Okay, good.
That just gives them an option of coming up here and we can still get it.
Well, it's
Let
just,
'em do it.
it would just be a matter of you guys getting extra information that you can use to choose what you want to choose. I mean, it can't hurt, I don't think.
Right.
So is that something we need to discuss later, or do you want to try to get it
I
done
think just
now?
when you
or-
get those forms, we'll look at it.
I will present revised forms to the board to consider, for consideration of approval.
We
All right.
had a motion,
We
we had a
had a-
motion on number.
Number
Oh, we
5,
6.
No, we
Number
never-
6,
we
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 never
never did
did.
pass it?
Oh, that's about the online
Unless
auction.
we ever did it.
You have a
Second.
motion and a second.
it was number 5, wasn't it, or 6?
Number
6, did we get a second?
Yes, you did, Mr. Phillips.
Okay.
Motion, we had a second. All in favor, say aye.
I apologize for interrupting.
It's okay. We all do it.
You're just so excited about it.
So we're on
Number 7.
7.
Now, Keeling, I'm losing my voice.
7 coming up. Let's go.
015018671. The commission opened an anonymous complaint against Respondent Gallery for potential unlicensed activity. Respondent advertised on auctionzip.com for a sale to take place on August 11th and September 11th. Office of Legal Counsel requested an investigation, which yielded the following information. The investigator met with the spouse of the gallery owner, who provided a copy of the gallery license and identified the licensed auctioneer who performs the auctions. The gallery owner subsequently provided a sworn affidavit stating that all auctions are conducted at the gallery location. Reasoning and recommendation are to dismiss.
Discussion.
I move we go with legal's recommendation.
Motion's been made, go with legal's recommendation. Here's a second.
Second.
Second's been made. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Number 8.
Number 8, 2015018-961. The commission opened a complaint against Respondent Unlicensed Auctioneer DBA Auction Company for potential unlicensed activity. Respondent advertised on auctionzip.com stating new truck load weekly every Saturday night at 7 p.m. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. Auction dates include August 15th, August 22nd, August 29th, September 12th, September 19th, and September 26th. Respondent further advertised a license number, but it does not appear that Respondent is related to this license. Office of Legal Counsel requested an investigation, which yielded the following information. The investigator attended the September 19th, 2015 auction. The investigator states that there were 2 individuals calling the auction. After the auction, the investigator approached Respondent, who could not produce an auction firm license or 2 auctioneers' license numbers. Respondent told the investigator that Respondent completed the 30-hour gallery owner course and was scheduled to take the test 9/22/15. Respondent further provided the investigator with the city business license, the training certificate for the gallery owner course, and the results of the test. The investigator also obtained sign-in sheets for the auction patrons between June 13th and September 19th, which identified 15 separate auctions conducted during the time period. Respondent further stated that Respondent sold its own property. Respondent submitted an affidavit that states the auction was opened June 13, 2015, and it is Respondent's understanding that Respondent is allowed to sell its own property without a gallery license. However, Respondent has received calls for consignment requests and will apply for a gallery license. Respondent further states that the first auctioneer, who is the joint owner of the auction company, sold Respondent's items. Further, the second unlicensed auctioneer called for his property and Respondent's property with no pay, no commission, and no buyer premiums. Respondent further stated that the other unlicensed auctioneer called one auction Though respondent was selling respondent's own property, it appears to legal counsel that the property was acquired for the purpose of resale and is not exempt pursuant to TCA Section 6219-103, Section 5. Therefore, the reasoning and recommendation is a consent order in the amount of $3,000 for violation of TCA Section 6219-102A1 for unlicensed activity. The civil penalty represents $200 per auction held by respondent.
I want to be excused from this one also.
Well, you know a bunch of rogues, don't you?
Yeah,
Man,
it's an uncle and a nephew. I know. I've heard all about it, and it'll be on my phone when I.
Yeah, so they went and took their test and stuff and just said, we're gonna go take a test. I mean, they went and took their courses and then said, we'll just go take a test some of these days.
didn't learn much in that school, did they?
I think the civil penalty is just a little bit low.
Well, you could,
Good luck collecting what you're gonna ask
right.
them.
Oh, we just went with $200 per, but I mean, you could. Right, because they did apply for licensure, but I mean.
Said what?
$200 per, since they did apply for licensure, but I mean, you're certainly welcome to bump that up and.
They apply
What
for
gets me is
license.
these people go get their business license and stuff. I mean, they go get their business license and it won't go take. You might add at the end of every class window, just say, please go take your test and pay your dues, your fees prior to having a sale.
Get your business license last.
And define absolute auction.
When did they apply for a license?
I don't think we have that date on here.
Have
We
they
can
even
find
applied
out,
for a
but-
license?
But it said they were going to.
Well, that's a mute.
Yeah, it don't make no
Consignment.
difference. They ain't got one, so.
They were operating without a license.
sales with that one. 15.
I make a recommendation, we go with council's, I make a motion, we go with council's recommendation.
Second.
All in favor? Your turn, Ronnie.
That's it on that.
Okay, that's all we have on the legal report, but I do have one other question, that pertains to complaints and opening complaints from this point. We're trying to get a handle on, like, if we get a complaint against a gallery, am I saying this right? For unlicensed activity, our question is, would it be something that the board would want to do to also open it against the unlicensed auctioneer? Because once we start going down the path for unlicensed activity, there's a lot of other parties involved. And it would save us time if we didn't have to come to you each time and say, is this something that you want to do? And we just started doing it and just make it uniform. Like every time this unlicensed activity is coming in, we're going
Firm,
to.
gallery, auctioneer, whatever.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
Well, when the investigation gets done, ultimately, they're going to investigate all parties anyway. But if our hands are tied because we don't have a complaint opened against each of these people, then it's kind of a waste of time for us to.
If they had a license, it wouldn't be unlicensed activity.
Right.
Sometime around the period about when you were born, there was so much unlicensed activity going on Saturday night that's why the gallery license was issued to begin with. And it's just as big a mess today as it ever was. And if it was discontinued, it would be the best thing that ever happened. But yes, everybody involved in those things need to be investigated because they've got their cousin doing an auction for a while and their aunt doing an auction for a while. And somebody in the audience says, let me sell a little bit, and they let them sell a little bit. Everybody that's involved in it should be held liable. Don't you agree?
Amen.
Yes.
All right, that concludes the legal report, right? We'll
Yes.
move into the administrative.
Yeah, I do
report.
actually have one other thing.
All right.
I'm sorry. I'm just adding stuff all day long. It's just really quick. So you guys know that you did rules. I don't know how long ago it was that you guys did rules. I don't think I was October. Okay, so they have to go through like a million steps before they get where they need to be. So we had sent these rules to the AG's office to make sure everything was constitutional and correct, and it has to go there a couple of times. It's a process. And we actually got some comments back from the AG's office concerning online auctions. So, yeah. So the problem for us is once they send us their comments, we of course can't go forward with the rules until we address their issues. So they try to work with us to get to a happy medium. So the issue was with Rule 0160-01-.28, which is online auctions. In the rules, this is what we had submitted. If the time for an online-only auction with a fixed bidding time is extended beyond the fixed ending time of the online-only auction, then the auction and the person conducting the auction are not included within the exemption specified at TCA 6219-103-9, and the statutes and rules of the Tennessee Auctioneer Commission shall govern the online auction. So the AG's office had some issues with that. I think they thought some of the language was contradictory, and so I met with someone from the AG's office to try to get a handle on what we could do to make this right on both sides, and they suggested that we come up with basically a definition for fixed price listing and timed listing. So we went back and forth a couple of times trying to get this definition under control. So we have come up with basically a new section for online auctions that I'm going to read to you guys and just see if this sounds like something that you're okay with. The way we will present it back to the AG's office is pursuant to the exemption in TCA section 6219-103-9, and then it's number 1, fixed price listings do not include a listing in which the time period is extended or otherwise modified after the listing is originally made, placed, or created. And 2, timed listings do not include a listing in which the price is increased or otherwise modified after the listing is originally made, placed, or created. So the issue was I came up with some definitions to send to the AG's office, and then they suggested that we identify what a fixed price listing and a timed listing is not, which I know sounds confusing. So that's why we went with.
What do they mean by a fixed price listing? I don't know.
eBay ends at a certain time.
Right.
Fixed
It
price?
does not extend.
Where the
Fixed
time-
Yes, that's what they mean.
Yeah, where you don't extend the time period or
No,
modify it.
That's a fixed time. That's not a fixed price.
If you were selling that building online and you were not a licensed auctioneer and it was to end at 6:30.
I understand the time part of it,
No,
Howard. I'm talking about the
I
price.
don't. I mean, I don't understand the price. And you had a $100,000 bid on that at 6:30. It sold to Bobby that had it online. What else could it be?
Sorry, I just hacked it.
Where is the pricing?
What do they mean by a fixed price? Fixed price has got nothing to do with an auction.
So fixed price and timed listing, both of those terms are listed in the exemption statute under 6219-103, section 9.
Yeah, but the auction commission doesn't concern itself with anything that has to do with a fixed price.
Yeah, but that's what it's called in the law, is what she's saying. Do
Right,
we have a
look.
copy of that here?
You should. Yeah, it's 6219-103, section 9 says any fixed price or timed listings that allow bidding on an internet website but that do not constitute a simulcast of a live auction. So that's already actually in the law, in the statute, that verbiage. So that's why we use those two terms for the definitions at the AG's urging. 6219-103-9. Yeah.
Any fixed price or time listed.
I would think that the fixed price would be more like a real estate listing where the price does remain the same, though. Like the price of this is $125,000.
Buy it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
eBay has that.
come from buy it now.
Buy it now.
That's eBay put that in there.
Yeah.
Of course, we know this is the eBay law anyway. So
And-
that come from buy it now then.
That's a fixed price listing.
We don't need to address any definition from our standpoint on a fixed price. I can tell you. That had got nothing to do with an auction.
Okay. Well, that, like I said, that was just something
The
that
fixed
came.
time is the one that.
These are the two things. These two terms are the two terms that the AG's office suggested we define. If you guys have an issue with fixed price,
I do.
then
I mean, we have nothing to do with a fixed price.
okay. So I guess we need to try to determine.
We don't, because it's in our exemptions, but it's,
I mean, I don't-
that's where that came
I mean,
from.
if you put a listing up at $99.9 and somebody brings you an offer at $99.9,
Yeah.
that's a
We-
fixed price. That's not an auction.
That's a buy it now
Sale.
on eBay. That's
Yeah.
where this came from.
Would it be better if we just left out fixed price listing altogether and then said pursuant to the exemption in 6219-1039
only-
and then just define time listings?
Yeah, time listing is
Okay.
the only hook that we got.
Okay.
In other words, if they extend it by 1 second, then it becomes a live auction at that point in time and under our jurisdiction.
All right, what'd you come up with for a definition on that?
On timed listings?
Time listings do not include a listing in which the price is increased or otherwise modified after the listing is originally made, placed, or created.
Well, let's make it make sense then. Like I said, these are basically what the AG suggested. So,
I understand.
but we can make it make sense. I know we can.
Remember, we're writing this for third grade educated people.
That's a lot of words to say that if you extend an auction beyond if you take a bid beyond the time limit of an auction, it's
I
illegal.
I think it shouldn't even be that, Howard. I think if it gets extended and it has the opportunity to be increased, not that it has been increased. Y'all saying if you get another bid past the end of the day, I'm just saying even if you have the opportunity to increase the bid beyond its original.
Well, there is no original.
I mean, if you say the bidding
Yeah.
will end at 6 p.m. on Monday, the September the 17th,
It's supposed to be cut off.
that's a timed listing.
So let's
It's a timed auction, I mean.
let's concentrate on what you were saying and go with trying to figure out how we can state this in a concise manner that like you said, if it gets extended or has the opportunity to increase the bid beyond the original.
Deadline.
How about?
Jenica's like, and let's try this.
Let's try this one. Pursuant to the exemption in TCA Section 6219-1039, time listings do not include a listing in which the time is extended or the listing is otherwise modified after the listing is originally made, placed, or created.
Didn't say anything about the time deadline in there. You're being fuzzy with that. I don't think you need to be fuzzy about it.
Is a listing the correct word?
Well, we could
Well,
just.
yeah, I mean, an auction listing or
Timed
yeah,
listing,
Yeah, timed
so
listing, yeah,
we're
that's what
trying
they
to-
call it. They
Well,
call
we
it a
could just
listing.
say, based on what you said, timed listings do not include a listing that is extended or has the opportunity to increase the bid beyond the original deadline.
There you go. Perfect. Or really, along.
We don't need to refer to
along
fixed
the-
price at all
along the
in any way,
original
shape, form, or
deadline. You can
fashion.
just
Don't let them change that.
along the deadline.
Be tough.
Yeah, we need. I mean, we
Hold
had
on,
two
hold
here
on.
today
Hold on.
fall back on it, right there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
no listing.
Is everybody good?
So that they can get a chance to. Got it?
We're going to go to the administrative report. What is that?
Hold on 1 second. Let me just get this all down. Basically, we just.
Scratching awful hard over there. Just don't talk.
Taking a pause for the cause.
We just need 1 minute. We gotta get this right because when we send it back, we don't want it to come
I
back
need a
again.
restroom break anyway.
Let's go to the restroom back in 5 minutes.
That takes
Okay.
pressure off of them. I'm all about relieving pressure.
I'm sorry.
I love it.
I keep just messing up your flow.
Yeah, I should have made you wait till last in new business, but go ahead.
I know I'm not usually this talky. We need to vote on that change that we just made. So I'm gonna just read it out loud, and then we'll just get a quick vote, and then I will be finished.
Did that
So
last time.
I know, right? It's just we haven't seen you guys in a while, so a lot of things have come up, and
All right.
Yeah.
Missed you all too.
Okay, thank you. So we came up with timed listings do not include a listing that is extended or has the opportunity to increase the bid beyond the original deadline. And so we just need to vote for approval on that. And
Make a
then,
motion, we approve it.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. We approve the new vote, or the new definition you got there. All in favor say aye.
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 You ready?
yeah, I'm all finished now.
Administrative report.
Thank you. If you will turn to page 65 in your iPads,
Actually, just tap on that little button right there. There you go.
tap the button
There you-
and
that'll get
pow, it'll turn right there. We just got the budget closed for 2015. You're in a good fiscal position. 2014-15, we spent 175,185 in expenditures. We had 259,696 in revenue. And the adjusted reserve balance is now 279,421.
That's awesome.
The education recovery fund is at 223,283. For this year, as of September, the budget plan is currently at 184,500. We've spent 12,375. This is just an estimate. But as of September, and our revenue is at 51,285.24. We have 10,900 built into the education and recovery fund as of September. Licensee counts there below.
Is that up, down, sideways? Do you,
I think it's pretty much the same. I don't see a real change.
okay.
Your license counts for complaints is doing very good. We're well above our performance measures for the expectations. There's no legislative updates for this month. This is the big item of business. Commerce and Insurance has the ability to offer a newsletter at no cost to the Auctioneer Commission. I realize this might be a sensitive topic, but just hear me out on this, which would mean a savings to the Auctioneer Education and Recovery Fund, and thereafter to the licensees. The department's communications director, Kevin Walters, is tasked to ensure that all of the public-facing documents are consistent, error-free, and on message. And he's determined to improve communications in the department and between the department and the public. Having said that, any newsletters that we send out must now meet the new graphic identity standards set up by the governor's office, as well as meeting expectations for accuracy, good grammar, and messaging, etc. And therefore, going forward, he'd want to be involved in approving what we send out to the public in any newsletters, and if not directly, actually creating the newsletter itself. He also want to be he also would like to potentially share the newsletter with others, industries, and with an audience that may go beyond just the licensees themselves. I've included some information from our current contract with the Nashville Auction School as to what it costs for continuing the quarterly newsletter. Last quarter, it was $37.60 for the newsletter, and currently it is $43.90 per quarter.
You said $37.60. Is that $3,760?
Going forward, this means a compensation per quarter for the newsletter may be as high as $43.90 per quarter for the newsletter, or $17,560 for the fiscal year. The last invoice on October 26 was $43.59.38. The prior invoice was $3,939 on August 10th, 2015. Our offices can do a digital color newsletter for no cost to the commission. This also means that we can do more frequent newsletter notices to the licensees as needed. Although there's no question to the value provided by Ressa and Wendell Henson and the Nashville Auction School, the department has the ability to provide the same services to the licensees without any cost to the Education and Recovery Fund. I brought an example of a prior newsletter written by our office as an example of our work. I just wanted to let you guys see what we do. This wouldn't be the template, but it is a newsletter that we have done for another board.
Digital newsletter.
That's a digital newsletter we just send out by
But-
email
so,
to the licensees.
So there's not gonna be, if they do this, there's not gonna be any mail?
That's the commission decision.
Well, are you saying that, what you're saying in essence is, let's fire Ressa and Wendell?
I'm saying fire them. I'm saying,
Well, yeah, y'all, whenever you get rid of a person, you fire them.
well, we could change the contract to only include the education portion instead of the newsletter portion.
Would y'all like to speak to this?
They certainly can.
I would be glad to answer any questions from the commission as far as cost on the newsletter.
That cost production
Introduce
and
yourself and
postage
get on the record.
only? What makes up that cost?
Fix to find out.
Currently, under this current contract, it's a 5-year contract, and fiscal year 2016 that we just began is the final year on this 5-year contract. So the contract was initially bid for a 5-year period of time, at which time we had to anticipate printing cost, postage cost, and meet the specific criteria of the contract. I don't have a copy of that with me, but there are specific guidelines within that contract. For fiscal year 2016, this year that we just began, the 4390, I believe, is what the budgeted amount was, is for each newsletter. Basically, the provisions of the contract were if we go over budget, that comes out of our pocket. If we are under budget, we bill under budget. This last newsletter, the guidelines did come to us on the 25th. The newsletter was submitted back to the state, completed on the 28th, so we had to kind of staff up and do some overtiming to reformat the templates. But basically, on the cost of the newsletter, and just kind of not exact numbers, but very close numbers, our compensation for writing the newsletter, managing the list, overseeing the publication, research, fact-checking, documentation, writing, publishing, working with the printers, all of that, our management of the newsletter, compensation to us on a quarter is about $2,500. The postage and printing costs that we incur on those newsletters come out to about 70 cents per copy. We had to estimate the number of licensees. So we're a little bit under the number of licensees that we anticipated and we estimated when we budgeted this out. We printed this last newsletter 2,750 copies. There were about 2,600 some odd that actually posted through the mail. We do list management. One of the things that we do for that $2,500 is we do pull, so we're not spending, we're trying to be good stewards of the state's money. So we do pull licensees that we know who have passed away so that we're not sending to them, or businesses that we know have closed. So that's pretty much the numbers that we're dealing with. It's about 70 cents to print, actual printing costs and postage costs. That includes the requirements of the Postal Service with double tabbing and sorting by zip codes for the bulk mailing rates, and then $2,500 to us for the quarter.
Do you send one like to a firm and the auctioneer in the firm?
We send to the firm. The terms of the contract is that we do have to do that. Now, it would be a lot more cost effective if we just sent to the licensee.
I get
now,
two.
Right. So in the course of list management, because we get the copies, we don't mail to our office. I don't mail to Wendell Hanson. He still gets a copy printed for him. But that comes, we have the copy, so we're not incurring that mail cost. So we try to save on the mail cost on that. But yes, we are required by the terms of the contract to mail to the firms and to the licensees.
So you've got 1 year left on your contract, right?
And we do. Yeah, we have three quarters left on the newsletters. The rest of this year, 3 CE seminars left on this contract. So it's not out of the question for some auction companies to receive 4 newsletters. If they have a public automobile auction license and a public automobile auction, you get tons of them. And I recognize that that's not a proper use of state funds, but that's the contract that we are required to comply with. So,
As far as the seminars and all that, with what y'all do, can you hear me? I would think that would kind of, one kind of helps the other, if as far as the package deal of doing the seminars and the newsletter and all that.
it's certainly our hope that the licensees read the newsletters and utilize that information. We do try, and one of the things that we came into this contract period with specifically is that we do attempt in the newsletters to mirror some of the topics that are going to be addressed in the seminars, so that it reinforces the information out of the seminar as kind of a reinforced learning process.
People do read those newsletters.
And we also do attempt to address issues of confusion, such as clarification on absolute auctions. This particular newsletter, we had an article regarding the sale of alcohol at auction. Apparently there was some confusion that came up when we received a telephone call regarding some information about whether or not auctioneers could sell alcohol, could not sell alcohol. We're under the impression from the Auction Commission that they could sell alcohol. I went directly to the Alcohol Beverage Commission for clarification on that information. That information, put it into the newsletter to make sure everybody knew, it's not a good idea to sell alcohol at auction. So, so we try to stay relevant with those kinds of issues or those kinds of questions that are coming up with licensees. We certainly accept feedback from licensees and questions that come up in the seminars as far as what kinds of issues they're confused about or unclear about, as well as any feedback that we get from this commission. So that, again, that a certain, the reporting here at these commission meetings is pretty much, tied to that newsletter as well. I mean, we come to these commission meetings, we listen, we take notes, we record, and we take that back to look at how we can incorporate what's happening here in the newsletters for all of those licensees that can't attend these meetings. Now, the state can do that as well. I mean, that's.
I wrote down 70 cents a copy, but that was for mailing, right?
Actually, that is the actual printing cost and the bulk mailing. There are some factors that have to go into that. Of course, there's the cost of the printing. There is the Postal Service requires that every newsletter be double tabbed. We used to be able to single tab. Now postal requirements are that they have to be double tabbed. They are bulk mailed from the printer. And so in order for them to be bulk mailed, they have to be sorted by zip code. We obtain the addresses from the state website, and then we manage that list. We shoot that list to the printer, and then there are certain protocols that they have to go through as far as the addresses actually have to match up with the address of record with the Postal Service, and some of those get kicked back as well. So that 70 cents a copy covers all of those costs. Those are the actual cost of the newsletter outside of what comes to Nashville Auction School.
I think before any changes are made, if you still got a year on your contract, that should be filled, right? And then if changes need to be made, or if y'all want to make one, then talk about it then.
I just wanted to make sure I brought it to the commission's attention.
Well, it's one thing are you saying y'all going to put out a digital newsletter that's not going to be mailed?
We have the ability to do both.
I understand that, but what are you proposing to do?
I'm proposing to do a digital newsletter, and if the commission wants it also to be mailed, that's something we can
And who's going to
incorporate
write it
into it.
and put it all together?
We have staff people to do it. Kevin Walters is the media director. We have a staff
Content
person.
is the main thing of any newsletter. You know, it's one thing to be able to physically put it out, but you got to have the right kind of content.
I think that it definitely, people need to get something in the mail.
Absolutely.
The digital is great, and if someone wants to opt out on that, like maybe there's a way to do that. You know, that's what the NAA does. You know, you can pay a little less on your dues and get the digital magazine. But in this deal, I hear more complaints, or not complaints, just people fussing, and believe me, I hear plenty of that. About not more so the real estate commission than this one, about not getting stuff in the mail, especially about license renewals and stuff like that. And I just think it would be a bad mistake not to send that out in the mail, because people do read that thing. I'll have people call me that, well, I didn't know this or I didn't know that, and I'd like to say I think y'all do an excellent job researching that stuff and getting up-to-date topics in it too. But I think it'd be a bad mistake not to mail it out, because they'll lay around my office for weeks, and you know, people will pick them up, because you know, we've got 6, 7 auctioneers in our office, and they'll pick them up and look at them and read them, and people will comment. I just think it'd be a bad mistake not to send out something in the mail. I love internet and all that, but there's something about having it in your hand, holding it and reading it still.
I don't have a problem with that. I just wanted to make sure that I was, you know, a newsletter. It's $20,000-ish a year. If I don't bring it to the commission's attention, that we can do it for free.
Let me ask you a question. This is going to be something that hasn't happened since the world was invented. Since God created the earth, the government has never done anything cheaper than somebody else could do it. It ain't going to happen.
And I ain't never had anything free that was worth it. It's just like the state sells all their stuff themselves now. They don't hire an auctioneer to do it. They do it all themselves online. Now they're wanting to send their own newsletter. I just don't like it.
I don't either. I think that my personal opinion is, forget that and leave it like it is, because we got a good thing going, and let's don't screw it up.
All right, that's fine with me. I don't care.
God knows, Wendell and Russell knows too, that we ain't never always seen eye to eye on everything. But we've always been fair with one another. Y'all have always been fair with me, I've been fair with you, and I just don't like it. I don't like the state doing it. I'm sorry. I just don't.
That's fine with me.
I think Nicole.
Not gonna hurt my feelings. It's just why I wanted to make sure, if I'm in charge of making sure that the budget is fair, and if I don't bring it to you, I'm not a good steward of your budget.
I think that's definitely a good point Russell brought out about it sending. It is silly to send it to the firms.
It is.
Whenever you've got, like someplace like my company, we've got 7 auctioneers, so we're gonna get seven of them in the mail anyway. There's no need to send the firm one. You know.
I agree, and additionally, there are a lot of auctioneers, unfortunately, that don't receive their newsletters because it goes to the firm and they're part-time auctioneers and they never go into the office. So the burden does go to the firm to forward the newsletter on to their licensees, which from time to time we do put into the newsletter, please forward this on to your licensees. Right. But it's certainly worth something to reevaluate in the contract. And with all deference to the state, I mean, certainly one of the provisions of our contract is that the state can change it at any time. So you guys are certainly not, it's not out of order at all, and our feelings are not hurt by Nicole asking y'all to reevaluate this. I mean, certainly that's a term of the contract of that when we entered into both contract terms that we've been in, and so certainly appropriate for y'all to consider. I think there are a lot of ways it could be done a lot less with a lot less expense to the commission. That's just not how it's written in this contract term. So we don't get to change the terms of the contract. You guys do. So
I think that's
Stick with
something
it to
we
the
need
end
to
of
do.
this contract. We can talk about the next contract period.
My motion, exactly.
I think Nicole is just doing her due diligence to bring it to our attention.
Yeah,
that we
it's
can,
not anything we need to vote
Yeah,
on or anything.
yeah.
It's just for our
So
information.
I think what we're saying is it's really $10,000 a year. If we're paying you $2,500, if that's the profit, it would be a savings of $10,000, because we agreed that we wouldn't want to do a digital copy, which would be free. we would also have to incur the printing and the postage that they incur.
Well, you
So-
still gotta have your seminars and stuff
Right.
too.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
Is it possible? Can I receive those in the mail? I can.
Yes,
I can
actually
pay
have
70
one-
cents if I need to.
I actually have one addressed to you, and
Okay.
in my office, we just got the extra copies. Since they mail from the printer, they UPS the extras to our office,
Okay.
and then we just have to do that. It's also
fine.
available on the website, but I'll be glad to get it out and
Okay.
mail to you this afternoon when I get back.
I have a new address.
You
too.
do
I
have a
need to
new
give you
address.
probably.
Okay, fantastic.
I think I probably know the answer to this question before I ask it. Do you have the ability to send a digital newsletter? Or you could get it?
We have the ability to do that. We do not have a contract that gives
I
us the
understand. I was
option.
just-
Yes, but we
this
have the
is just for
ability.
future
Yes,
Smoking over.
we do have the ability to do that. Absolutely.
I still think, I don't like the digital because there's a lot of auctioneers where I live that don't have computers and can't get a computer. I'm strongly for mailing whatever we do. That's my opinion.
Bring it up.
What's next on your list?
I appreciate it.
All right. I only have two other quick items of business. The Healthy for Life Expo was held here in Nashville at the Convention Center on October 24th, 2015. Mr. Bobby Colson and his partner Danny joined Nicole Avers at the expo, where we greeted consumers and handed out gifts and fun. We had fun with the partners at Reg Boards and gave away tickets to the Titans game. If you have any other ideas for outreach opportunities, please let our offices know. It's fun, right?
I would just like to say that was a lot of fun.
I recommend you do it.
I appreciate that, Ron.
It was a good time.
And
So.
no, we went down, just had a big time. We cut up and carried on, just had a big time. Gave away tickets. That was the funnest part. Was the end, I think, giving the tickets away. And
If you got money, I'll give my.
we didn't. We
Okay,
didn't
all right.
no money raised. It's
All right,
just
good
goodwill,
deal.
just
Good deal.
priceless goodwill. It was a
Goodwill
lot of
for
fun.
Reg Boards.
It was
All
a lot
right.
of fun.
And the last thing is that a new licensing system has been successfully implemented. With the new licensing system, licensees can manage more than one type of credential using a single entity number. They can log in and update information, pay for renewals, upload education, etc. We're excited about the many advantages this new system will offer to our licensees as we move into the next phase of our customer service plan.
Managing more than one type of credential using a single entry number. Does that mean entity number? Does that mean we'll have one number and we can use that to look up all our stuff?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
You have to get it when you have a renewal coming up. You'll be mailed an entity number. The entity number will be the same if you have like a real estate license or something else.
They've changed that. Every profession has a separate entity.
What?
We just figured it out last week.
Oh, man. So much.
Back
So they
up.
changed that, all
Back
right.
up, back up.
All right.
Kinda
Read
proves my
back
point.
up. All right. I guess they're separate entity numbers. Something must have gone sideways.
Well, the reason I ask is like, I have a TWRA number, and with that TWRA number, it's got my fishing license, my boat registration, everything's under that one number. And I was hoping it would kind of be like that, but apparently not.
They were hoping to do it that way. All right. Well, the new licensing system, you'll be able to log in. They did the entity number so it's more secure. You log in, you'll have a unique number. You can renew online, upload your education so you don't have to email it in or mail it in or fax it in. So that'll be something different. And we just verify and approve, so you don't have to do that. For those who do have computers, there are those kids out there that like that.
It ain't just a computer, we just can't get a connection. Okay.
Yeah, but Obama's
You
gonna
gotta
make
be able
sure
to
you
see a
get that.
satellite.
Oh, yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, the president, when we get
I got
through.
satellite internet at my phone.
He
We-
can't
we-
get the satellites.
I can't even get the satellite. It won't get the connection.
Well, so, you know,
That's why I keep telling you,
I know.
I email you, I don't, sometimes I get
sorry.
them, sometimes I don't. So,
I'm sorry. Well, certain licensees will be able to take advantage of this new technology.
Them. All right, where are we?
Well, you got on here 2016 meeting schedule vote. Are we going to do that?
Yes, we do have the 2016 meeting schedule. We have February 1st, 2016, April 4th, 2016, May 2nd, 2016, April 1st, October 3rd, December 5th, and I actually went into 2007, I put February 6th.
Just tell me the month you're skipping.
June, July.
I skipped a bunch, yes. You don't need to meet every month, because that'll make you crazy.
January?
No January.
No January, so you got February, March. No March.
February, April, May, August.
How many do you have scheduled for next year?
Only one.
1, 2,
six.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
No,
Seven.
6. That says February. You got February to February. That's
Right.
17.
Yeah,
So it's really, next year it's only 6 meetings.
6. Half. 6 is enough? That's
Well,
enough.
if something happens, you can always schedule one.
Yeah, but I think that'll probably be enough. Every other month.
We have a meeting next month.
So when's the Super Bowl fall?
February will be the next one.
February, don't it?
I know, but it's usually the first Sunday in February. So
We aren't meeting on Sundays.
February the 6th, I guess.
He got to get over his hangover.
No, we have a big party at our house every Super Bowl.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, what do we need to do? Do we need to adopt it or vote on it?
I move we adopt the schedule as written by the
Motion.
executive director of the Tennessee Auctioneer.
Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Done deal. What's up? Is that it?
That's it.
Any new business?
Oh, I have something.
Whoa,
What about an
wait.
application review? Do we have an application?
That's what I was
review?
gonna say. I think his application review.
There are no applications this month, actually, so we're done.
Any new business?
Yeah, I'm not through yet. I have something to say.
Oh, I thought we
Yeah,
had.
We got another agenda item.
Oh,
February
yeah.
5th is the Super Bowl also.
I'm sorry, I thought all the education had already been presented. We need to go back to the education provider update, because when you were presenting earlier, I didn't realize you had not finished the report.
Russell, you want to come back forward?
Application review, is that what it is?
Yeah. Education is just one item on the agenda now. It's just education,
Page
everything.
is that on?
Page 11. Educator provider update.
Oh, we already did that.
Yeah,
That's something
I
about,
also did
about
not-
auction dynamics and all
I
that.
also did not realize that that was part of the education provider update. My apologies. Yes, we have 3 courses. I did mention in the update, we do have 3 courses for you to approve for Robert Mayer presenting, 1 for Wendell Hanson presenting, and these would be the TAC seminar classes, which we need to approve so we can have the seminar next week.
3 of them.
3.
You got the one by Wendell, then it's got a little slideshow about it.
Yeah, PowerPoint, I think there are PowerPoint presentations for all of them, and then
you got the one by Robert Mayo, online only auctions,
Right.
real estate, non-real estate.
Mhm. Social media marketing, and his bio with his credentials.
James Drury selling to millennials.
That's not us.
That's not you.
That is not us.
What'd you say about
Where's
online
the third one
auctions?
from you?
Should be social media marketing.
We got auction dynamics, which is that it?
Auction Dynamics, no.
That's
Auction
not it.
Dynamics by Wendell Hanson. It's red.
Ah, it's back there in the back.
Yeah, that's the last one.
Okay.
It's 3 2-hour modules for the 6-hour seminar.
What is,
another course
this thing
too.
here is all,
Basically, on
Huge.
what you're talking about on online auction, could you give me 30-second brief on what that's going to concern?
I don't have the program in front of me, but what Robert Mayo is going to be discussing is how to photograph items, how to write descriptions for items, how to properly list items for an online-only auction. Certainly, one element, those of you who have been to our seminars are aware, is that one of the elements is we always do cover legal aspects of what is going to be addressed, and so we will certainly make a point of making sure that everybody does understand. Since Robert Mayo does not have a Tennessee license, but we always do cover those issues
That's what I
at
was
the beginning
getting
of
at.
each seminar. So
We got auction marketing, and then we got what?
online auctions.
Online only.
Social media.
Online
Right.
platform.
Because our seminar attendees are diverse across lines, we have gallery owners who are required to have CE that come in who are not auctioneers. And we also have auctioneers, and so we have to, make sure these programs appeal to a broader audience. And the social media marketing,
They need to put their.
I move that we
they need
approve
to-
these 3 programs for
Yes.
Nashville Auction School to
Auction
present.
marketing, online platform, and social media. Second.
Motion's been made and second, approve the education. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So there's one more from Cornerstone.
Who is Cornerstone?
The applications are.
I see the application, but who are they? Who they be and what are they gonna do with it? Facebook and the Professional Auctioneer, online.
Put your page number on your license. This is an online only class.
Yes, we just received this application in the mail, so we just. put it
YouTube
on.
and the auctioneer
Just put
online.
it on.
He's from LaGrange Park, Illinois. Page 39 is the first page. Where is his resume? He's been James Drury's been a licensed auctioneer in Illinois since 2001, graduate of the Reperts. Auction career in the medical auction area. What's a medical auction?
Doctor's equipment back earlier
I
this
thought
year.
maybe they're selling organs.
What it looks like is it's an online
Hadn't thought about that.
online school. It's an online continuing education school, and this is just the contact person. So the class is offered online. I'm looking at the website now. Continuing education for the professional auctioneer.
Classes for auctioneers: Alabama, North Carolina, Illinois, South Carolina, Wisconsin, New York. North.
He just teaches online only. Is that right? Got a head shake on that, so it must be right.
It's on.
Online.
It's on.
We already have a little situation with online auctions in the state of Tennessee. Do we believe that somebody outside the state of Tennessee would be qualified to teach online auctions?
Question's been made by Howard. Should we have someone out of state teaching in-state auctioneers? Any other
It
discussion?
happens when
Well, I
you.
think
There's nothing wrong with
that's-
that.
yeah, I don't see nothing wrong with that, really, but.
Further discussion.
I don't know, I'm not very comfortable with this stuff like
You never know what you're getting.
this. What are you doing here?
The requirements of the rule for continuing education,
I know.
that's where I would turn to
You know-
for a reason for approval or
Rest.
denial.
Do you know him? James Drury. Said he he did a course at the convention. Said he did a course at the convention,
What convention?
NAA convention.
All right, they're approved in Alabama, North Carolina.
I make a motion, we approve it. Approve him.
Motion's been made to approve. Second.
Second.
Second's been made. All in favor say aye.
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 What else?
We have one more legal item that Adrian Chick is going to present. Sorry.
I always hate it
We
when
see
you
him
show
coming,
up.
we know
Every
it's
time
him. Sorry.
Adrian shows up, we got problems.
You guys just wait in anticipation of me, just these two.
I think he's, me and I resent that allegation.
You resemble that remark.
There was
And the
a
alligator.
order entered in a contested case against Arthur Adams.
Sit down and talk into the mic, Adrian.
Sorry. Okay, there was a consent order that this board approved for, the respondent was Arthur Adams for operating an auction gallery without a license. The board approved, I believe, a $750 consent order. He asked if he could make that in payments, and I wrote a final order where it broke it up into payments, and he's been making those payments, so this is just an
I make
approval.
payments on $750.
I believe so. Right, so
What is the term of the payment schedule?
he's gonna make payments. He made one in October, so he's gonna make them October, November, December, and January and complete them. So he's already made his first one.
Looking for approval from the board.
Yes, sir.
Any way you can get it, I'm all for it.
All
right.
That we approve the payment schedule for the complainant.
Motion's been made to approve. Second. Second's been made. All in favor say aye.
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 And I'll also add that this was one that I filed. I actually filed charges, and he also added the filing fees to that too, and that's being paid. So
Perfect.
Any way we can get it, I'm all for it.
At least you're working a little bit.
well, I didn't want to overdo it.
Any other
Don't
business?
say us again.
mean that.
Anything else to discuss? You had something you said?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian.
We've been having discussions about public automobile auction license, and that one's still coming up in the next legislative meeting. What's the name of it, Bobby?
Copar.
Copart is wanting to get a public automobile auction license that is exempt from everybody else. And I think that we need, I think the commission wants any public automobile auction license that are issued to be according to the law and what's already passed. And theirs is different. So what do we need to do to have something written to the legislators that the Auctioneer Commission is willing for everybody to have a public automobile auction license as long as they meet the criteria, and all do it the same way?
Are you just asking what would be the best way to get your thoughts on this to the legislature?
Yeah, from the board.
Yeah. Well, the only thing that I could think would be to just submit them to us, like put something in writing, submit them to us, and then I'll go through head counsel who helps us with the legislative process.
And see that it gets to the committee
Yeah.
that's in charge of this.
Yes.
Howard, you can write a letter direct too.
Yeah, I mean, you can.
That would be the most.
I've already done everything that I can do as an individual.
Okay.
And unless we do it as a commission, it is not going to happen.
Well, and
And I don't know that
Yeah.
it will anyway. But my point is, if you want to get a public automobile auction license, everybody here will be for you to get it, as long as you get your license.
Well, I
like
understand what you're
supposed to.
saying, and they've been here, been arguing their case, a couple of meetings ago.
right.
Right.
And I mean, the attorneys are the ones that end up drafting the legislation in the first place. So that would certainly be something that would be beneficial for us to look at in the process. Because if we get it after the fact, then it's just going to be,
So that's why I'm asking
yeah.
is this October? No, this is November now. So you will be the one that does that? Okay. Now, what do you need from the commission?
If you just, I mean, I would be the one who's drafting the legislation. So I would say just put something in writing to me with your thoughts as a board. And then when, right, and then you guys could review it. It would probably be better to review it in here and approve it as a board, and then when
We
we're,
won't have no meeting in time to do that. I think we'd be comfortable with whatever Howard comes up with on this.
Designate somebody to draft something and send it to Keeling.
it would just be helpful for me to look at it as I'm drafting, rather than, draft something and then after the fact say, well,
Smart as you are and as simple as this is, ain't nothing to it.
legislation gets hairy
All
sometimes.
we're asking is that they follow the law and rules that are in place now. That they can't go around and get a license that suits them, and then you come down here and get a license that suits you, and pretty soon it's going to be worse than gallery license.
I move that we designate Howard to work with Keeling on that, to do whatever Howard says, the board
Yeah,
will agree with.
and when you put something in writing, just say it like you just said to me. Just well, don't send me foul language
Oh, no
because I'll
foul
have to cover my eyes. But
He's not gonna do that.
yeah, just put it really simply.
All right, motion's been made to put Howard in charge of that by Bobby. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second's been made. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And if there's no further approval needed from us.
No,
Howard can do
no
it.
further approval are needed from the commission. Second's made. All in favor aye.
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 Over to you,
Anything?
Howard. Go get
On
it,
my
Howard.
own, I guess.
Okay, what about December? A couple asked about a meeting. We're not meeting in December.
December didn't attend.
Mentions the first.
December.
I can't recall off the top of my head. I'm sorry. I don't think there is. I can't remember. February?
So the next meeting will be in February.
I don't really think you have any complaints or
Unless
anything.
something comes up
I think
between
we
now and
cleared
then.
the slate.
We normally,
What is
we keep it on the schedule until about a week or two out, and y'all look at it, and
What is it I need to get them to fill out to request you to come to the convention?
A public speaker request. It's on the website, just under online services. There's a drop down that you just say public speaker, request to speak.
Anything else?
The last week of February, I'm going on a cruise, so don't ask. I'm not
Where
going to be here.
Where are you going?
we don't meet on the
Caribbean.
last week of February. We meet the
Oh,
first.
Lord, he's back, Howard.
Leave the.
Sign below.
Chairman's signature.
I move we adjourn.
I gotta get you two together here. Help me out.
Anyone who has not set up an Edison already,
Oh.